Netflix has officially purchased Warner Brothers, and let's talk about what is happening and why. So, two questions that I wanted to answer specifically: why would Warner Brothers want to sell, and why would Netflix want to buy? Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Warner Brothers actually acquired Discovery, which is just, I'm gonna be honest, I never really watched Discovery when I was growing up. So, basically, two failing companies merged with each other. The reason that they would merge is because a lot of these companies believe that streaming was the next boom. You know how a lot of people nowadays they see AI as a boom. A lot of these companies saw, hey, if we go merge with that company and we go merge with that company, we're going to be super big, and then we're going to be able to compete with Netflix because we're going to have everything on our platform. So then they said, oh, we're going to have HBO and then Discovery, and then we're going to have HBO Max, and then we're going to have Hulu and stuff like that. The issue is that these two companies were just not as popular. They did not have as much pull as they might have believed that they were going to have. Anyways, if you want to hate someone, you would hate David Zaslav. This guy was the president of Discovery, and then when they merged, they became Warner Brothers Discovery. After Warner Brothers Discovery, they decided that we're gonna go ahead and cancel Batgirl and Coyote vs. Acme. By the way, Batgirl, the movie was done. It was completed, okay? And the cast for Batgirl was really good. They had Leslie Grace, they had Brendan Fraser, they had J.K. Simmons. It was expectedly gonna be a banger, but David Zaslav looked at the movie and said, hey guys, we lost a lot of money from the merger, but what if we have a tax write-off? We lost a lot of money and we're gonna be chilling. That's exactly what happened. That is the reason that this movie went ahead and got canceled, because they just didn't believe that a female lead, one of the two things, they either didn't believe that a female lead would make a lot of money, or they didn't believe that the writing was good enough, because there were reshoots, from what I understand, for this movie. Now, on October 22nd of this year, this is very recent, by the way. On October 22nd, at least this article was written, Warner Brothers basically said on an announcement, said, hey, we're getting a lot of offers that are coming in to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, and we are looking at them and we are going to consider them. Why would they do that? So the streaming wars suck, and it really sucked for a lot of these companies, and it mostly sucked for anyone that's not Netflix. If you look right here, you can see how much money is being spent on marketing, on the development of movies, on the production side, and everything that is required to make streaming as successful as possible. So Netflix is the only one that is profitable during this whole time, during all the streaming wars, during all the competing and the constant investment in improving their platform. It was only working for Netflix. With that in mind, you also have to consider that in 2022, the amount of subscribers that HBO Max was getting, this is the reason that they kept naming it. They kept changing the name. They were like HBO Max, HBO Max Plus, or some shit like that. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And we kept having situations where the subscriber count was flatlining, and it was really bad because of it. So again, to answer the question, why would Warner Brothers want to sell? They want to sell because they are losing money from the streaming wars. They're not winning. They're losing, bleeding massive amount of money. They have $10 billion in debt, and they don't have any avenues of big hits, wonders, or massive movies. You know, they're not A24 where the studio just makes a movie and then everybody's like, oh, A24 is making it, let's go watch it. Warner Brothers no longer had that reputation where you're going to go watch a movie because Warner Brothers is making it. If it has Batman on it, maybe, but they've just failed so many times that they kept trying different avenues and it just was not working. And I think they just acknowledged that, hey guys, we kind of suck. Let's just sell the IP or everything that they own, right? So by the way, just in case you didn't know, Warner Brothers owns the DC Comics or the DC cartoons or the DC movies and stuff like that. They own Cartoon Network. They own Scooby-Doo. They own Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, the Warner Brothers Picture Animations. And they just own a bunch of shit that is hella popular for us millennials, right? Just a bunch of things that, you know, people would love to make movies with or about, and they just don't have access to it because Warner Brothers owns a lot of it. I think DC is probably, well, for me, right, I would assume that it's going to be the most profitable thing that Netflix is acquiring for. But that it goes on to our next question, right? Why would Netflix want to buy? If you look at this graph, it's a very easy answer as to why Netflix is now thinking, okay, we have to be buying or we have to be trying new things. The thing about businesses is that it has to be straight outline, straight shot arrow, all the way to the top. The thing is that there's only so much demand that you can be able to grab at a certain price, because there have been times where Netflix is now finding situations where like, oh, we're flatlining. A good example of how Netflix had to change their model is how I don't live with my parents anymore. I use my parents' Netflix account. Why would I pay for another one? I mean, I've been using the same Netflix account since I live with them, and then all of a sudden Netflix said, hey, we're not getting new subscribers. What is a way way, or what is the strategy that we can get more subscribers? So one of the things that they did is, let's go ahead and require people to have their own accounts per household. And it doesn't stop there. So they also want you to go ahead and find their platform as a way to engage with it for everything. There is a Chinese app that does this, but I forgot what's the name of it. But anyways, you now have games on Netflix. I think they're actually being very well designed, and they're very intentional as to how they're platforming them on Netflix. The issue is that they're really just doing this as a way to get more subscribers. Let's say you're playing a game, a daily game that you have to play on Netflix. And then one day, hey, I'm not paying for my subscription anymore. So the idea would be you stop watching shows on Netflix, but you're still playing the games because you open them daily. You want to go ahead and continue your subscription. So it's another way to grab you and say, you want to pay for the subscription, right? And then you're going to say, yes, of course, I want to keep playing my favorite game. Even though you're not watching a show on Netflix, you're still consuming things that you can enjoy on Netflix. And that is the reason that they themselves are thinking, okay, let's keep having Netflix games. That's the reason for it. So to answer it, a lot of it has to do with the flatlining of Netflix. They are acknowledging that they need to keep doing more things to expand their goals, right? As of right now, they're theatrically going to release a lot of the movies that Warner Brothers might have been in association with. So they still have those decisions that they've made. So is Netflix buying Warner Brothers to kill it? It just depends on who's in charge and what decisions they make. There's a lot of things that Netflix can do here and how I believe they can approach it. And it kind of doesn't matter what they do. They're going to come out on top and they're going to be successful for it. So HBO Max already has a lot of subscribers to it, so you don't have to remove them. But you kind of just want to move those people to Netflix. You can easily say, hey, if you have a Warner Brothers subscription, you're automatically going to be running to the Netflix subscription, but you need them to, I think they have to sign or agree to certain terms and stuff like that. So it's very tricky on that sense. Let's say everybody, if you're Warner Brothers, you're automatically going to get a subscription on Netflix. They can even give you 3 free months on Netflix for being already subscribed to Warner Brothers, etc., etc. Why would Netflix want to move everything from HBO Max or HBO Plus or whatever the bullshit is called? Why do they want to move everything to Netflix? The reason for that is, again, the games, right? And everything. They want to have it all on this central hub of Netflix. I don't think they're going to keep HBO Plus a thing. They can, but my guess is that they want to have more things and more options on Netflix compared to having other competitors. I don't think they're doing it because they're thinking, oh, we're losing subscribers to HBO. I don't think a lot of these companies are losing subscribers to HBO. I genuinely don't think that. I don't think that if they were purchasing it, I think it was really stupid if they thought, oh, we're losing subscribers to HBO. That is not the reason for it. If you told me, hey, you can make movies for all of these very, very popular brands and you can put them on your platform, I would take that deal. Imagine having a Batman movie, right? Or a Tom and Jerry movie, whatever the pick. And that movie is made specifically for your platform. Just think about it. Like, imagine a Batman movie or a Superman movie being made and only released on Netflix. You cannot go to the movies and watch it. Think about like K-pop Demon Hunters. It did really well, and then Netflix owns it, so now you have to subscribe to Netflix to watch it. You have to subscribe to Netflix to watch the new Batman movie. You have to subscribe to Netflix to watch the new Batman show, etc., etc. Netflix is buying Warner Brothers for the brands more than it is buying it to kill the platform. The platform is not very competitive. We know that. We know it. The amount of subscribers on HBO compared to the amount of subscribers on Netflix, it's not really comparable to the point of like, oh, we got to get rid of all our competitors. The thing is that it's not large enough to say that that's the reason you're losing. On the other hand, because of this acquisition, a lot of people have already pointed it out, it's likely going to be more expensive. For reference, right now, you can watch it with ads for $8. For standard is $18. For premium, you can pay $25. This number is going up, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee you. If you just spend $82 billion on a company, you really think we don't have to increase our prices? You'd be a little foolish for it. I assume this is probably going to go to 10. This is probably going to go to 20. And this is probably going to go to 28 as an example, right? The issue with raising your prices is that you lose customers. You will regain customers, or you'll have enough customers that continue to subscribe because they just will. We're just going to have to wait and see how much they increase it by. If they even increase it. My idea is that they will, but the idea is that you increase prices right before you're about to release something theatrically onto your platform and then say, yes, nice. They K-pop Demon Hunters, bro. Like they're in a very good spot. And my assumption as to why they feel confident to invest so much into Warner Brothers is because of that. Because they keep getting wins. They keep having, you have no idea how massive it is that Sony sold the rights of K-pop Demon Hunters to Netflix. It is massive. Netflix is winning for having the best movie, the best music, everything, in getting this super lucky on this one movie, because the amount of merchandise and everything in between that they can make from just this one baloney thing is insane. And then they had Stranger Things, and I'm sure they're thinking, oh, well, now we have Stranger Things and it did really well, etc. for season 5. So Netflix has a lot of, they understand that the topic or the brand or the movie or the film, the title of that is very important when it comes to bringing people onto the platform and having them interact with it. That's why when we were looking at the games, it has SpongeBob game, TMNT games. There's a lot of things that they're just saying, hey, we're going to use this brand and we're going to put it on the game, etc. Branding is very important, and a lot of popular brands and then being able to purchase that for a big package deal is really, really insanely amazing. So I think Netflix has an absolute dub. We're going to have to wait and see how prices are going to look. What do you think about it? Do you think it was a win for Netflix, or do you think it was a win for Warner Brothers since their movies suck ass? Let's see.